Hey, Flimsy Lunch Tray here with a Friday edition video. Between today and tomorrow, we're going to be highlighting the Des Moines. And before we go into the video, I do need to kind of apologize because I'm actually a little bit sick right now. I got the second dose of the COVID vaccine on Wednesday, and it has whooped my butt between fevers, so on and so forth. But we'll at least get today's video out to you guys as I am slowly beginning to do a bit better. So, Des Moines. I've had the Des Moines for a good bit now, but I feel like I'm still getting used to her playstyle. I mean, really once, when you're going through, what's the tier 8 heavy cruiser? I'm spacing. Baltimore, Buffalo, then you get to Des Moines. A lot of the cruiser play with these cruisers revolves around playing islands. You're not tanky quite like the Russian cruisers, and of course but you are more beefier than a light cruiser, American light cruiser, an example. But you have to position really well. If you position well, regardless in any ship you're in, you'll be highly rewarded. And I feel like Des Moines has been one of those ships where I just feel like I've continued to get used to how to position, because there'll be sometimes you don't feel like you're contributing much, and then you'll be like, oh, I need to move, reposition, go out in the open or something. And that's not always the case. So with Des Moines, it's really, in my opinion, marrying the island is really great advice for playing this ship so far. This is going to be one of my better games, or I think probably the best game I've had so far in Des Moines. So yeah, I've been wanting to feature the ship for a while now, but I've been still getting used to it, and I didn't feel like it was fair to show off a ship that I felt like I was still getting the hang of. So I do have Halsey on the Des Moines, which means it's very good expert reloader time, and that is really nice. And so we're going to have this enemy Des Moines coming out here in the open, and you see how quick I switched from high explosive to armor piercing, and we're going to see if we maybe can get some citadels on this Des Moines, who's, pretty far away. But if we lead him correctly, we'll see what happens here. And, so far, this citadel, I'm doing this damage undetected with how I'm positioned with the island there. And then he should be picking me up here in a minute as he goes behind the island. Yeah. Another citadel. Broke his engine. And 2 more citadels. So, for that guy to go out in the open broadside like that, moving between islands, really not wise. Just because even in Des Moines, 6-inch shells, when broadside like that, can smash him rather quickly. The other thing I've had to get used to with Des Moines is I invested research bureau points, and I have the Legendary Propulsion power plant upgrade. It's fantastic. I love it. I actually had to get used to it because it's just so powerful. Sometimes I would overextend myself out past an island, and then I would just get smacked. So it's been a learning curve for me with the propulsion the legendary mod, and just even between rocking back and forth and avoiding shots is just so phenomenal. I do highly recommend the module. It does take some time getting used to, but I do have that here on the Des Moines. So with Des Moines, in my opinion, she's a very reliable cruiser. I mean, you have great 6-inch high explosive, you got the armor piercing that does really great. You have a heal, you have your hydroacoustic search, you have a radar, a 10-kilometer radar for the heavy cruiser line. And that comes quite in handy. So she can really play around these islands well in that sense that because you're able to be aware of what's going on around you between having the hydroacoustic search and radar. So we have this Montana who's kind of coming out in the open, so I realized I kind of need to back off. And with this position with the island, I'm also able to limit how many targets have a firing solution on me. Okay, so Montana gets the salvo off. Reverse a little more. Yeah, he just hit like 2 citadels right through the deck. So at that distance, I was trying to angle more and maybe get behind the island. But that's something you can be citadeled through that front deck, as those shells will just plunge right down into your citadel. So now there is a destroyer in C, and so I'm pushing up to see maybe if I can't catch the second destroyer that's in the cap. So I'm divisioned up with Sammy and Doom, both clanmates. And so Sammy's going to go investigate. So far the enemy presence seems to be a bit more heavy on this flank compared to our opposite flank, which is good. In the sense of, I feel confident to be able to hold this position and let our guys do what they need to do to take A. And yes, it's the Shimakaze. So I just kind of spammed the M key. And you get to utilize the island here. I'm trying to pop some shells in between the 2 gaps there. But now I need to kind of back off. This is the Des Moines, so instantly switch to armor piercing in like 1 point something seconds. And we're going to see if we can't punish him for coming out into the open like that. Yeah, is that 5 citadels? So that's something Des Moines is really good at, and that's punishing broadsides. Yeah, knocked out his engine, or someone else may have. And you just get to punish it, even at range when you're not up close and personal, just because the DPM is so good. So Doom is having to back off just because he's getting farmed by the Minotaur. He wasn't very happy about it, because he was using the island to kind of block some incoming fire, but he's just having to disengage and going to heal up. Now, I do have another Des Moines with me off to the right on that 9-10 line, and what he can do is if he moves up to the island in front of him, he'll have a really strong, secure position. But right now he's kind of far out away from it. So let's see if he ends up actually utilizing that island. So our team has secured A, but they're kind of leaving it as there is a enemy ship coming down. No, he's leaving. So we did have a gearing over here, so that's another nice thing about this position, is that you can kind of help your teammates in Bravo. As you can see, my firing range just fully encompasses the cap. So I'm gonna, never be afraid to call out a target. I mean, of course, both the destroyers are there and they know that he needs to die, but don't be afraid to call out a strategic target. It helps your teammates be aware, because often they have, there can be tunnel vision, so on and so forth. So in the midst of that, I missed our Des Moines dying. You see he turned out away broadside from the island. And that's something that's really difficult, is when your whole team is leaving and you feel like you should go with them. In my opinion, it's hard to open gunboat with not using an island with Des Moines. And so for me, I want to, even though the enemy team is pushing in, I want to be able to hold this position as long as possible, versus just running away and the enemy team just completely pushing through and utilizing the island. So if they want to take this flank position, they're going to have to kill me to do it, is kind of the mentality. So I do pop radar just because I want to make sure that there's no destroyer sneaking up on me. It appears there is not. So the Des Moines we citadeled multiple times earlier is pushing down, and so should the Minotaur and the Montana. Yeah, so here we go. So here's Montana again. I'm going to back off a little bit so Des Moines can't get shots onto me. And see, that's the damage I was hoping the minimal damage to take earlier when Montana fired at me. But he just had enough arc and just got me right through the deck. So, because you have a good belt you can use to bounce off a lot of shells. So I'm going to back off just because the Minotaur, if I keep engaging Montana detected, the Minotaur is just going to sit there and farm a bit of damage on me. I do try to pop off an AP salvo. And now we're going to switch back to high explosive because Montana's pushing back in. So you can see that I'm being very conscious of my port. Yeah, there's Minotaur. My port side, because I don't want to take a salvo from, you know, something like the Bourgogne, the Yoshino over there. But I want to be able to effectively use the island without fear of getting blapped. And that's what I see sometimes happens to a lot of players. I mean, it's happened to me before. Because right now I'm at a distance from the island. It'd be better off if I were closer. But we're going to get close back up on island here in just a moment. Now, the good thing about this type of positioning is for the Montana to engage me, he has to keep going forward, where I just keep able to keep reversing. So he has to expose himself more. So I'm showing a little bit of side, but you can see with the Legendary module how quickly I'm able to reverse. And because I'm conscious of my port, I'm going to nose back in towards the island. Got the Minotaur coming back up. So we went to take out the Daco wagon. And so now we're going to turn and nose in. I'm also going to pop a hydroacoustic search just because reasons. Minotaur does have torpedoes, but also the Des Moines moving up. If he moves past the island, I want to know about it so I can take him out if he pushes around the corner. So that's also why I'm moving up on this island, because if the Des Moines wants to take me, he's going to have to show a lot of side to me. He'll be showing broadside because he's not able to turn around the island well enough without not showing it in this position. So yeah, so just in a quick amount of time, our damage has ticked up much more, and we've been able to hold off both the Montana and the Minotaur, and now we're preventing the Des Moines from coming around the corner. So our Yoshino, that player, is actually going to play it really well. Well, he's going to go at distance, and he's going to be lobbing shells on the Des Moines, because with his good HE, but I'm able to just kind of keep him detected in the meantime. So I'm keeping an eye, seeing what Des Moines is doing, but now I'm going to switch back over here because we have the Yoshino is pushing in towards the caps. So seeing what he's doing. So it looks like the Des Moines may possibly try to go for it, but I wanted to go ahead and also just move up because I see the big splash. I think Bourgogne just fired at me or something. And that's a cruiser you don't want to be showing your side to. So yes, this is going to continue to be just keeping each other in checkmate in this position, especially that Des Moines. Of course, I'd love to just go ahead and kill him, but not going to be able to. I do go ahead and pop radar, just because I want to know what's going on. But I popped it for Shimakaze because he thought it'd be a great idea to yellow rush a Des Moines. And so, yeah, that didn't work out with what HP he had left, so the Shimakaze just kind of threw away his ship. But I'm also with the radar, and it was able to help the Yoshino player to detect the Des Moines. So we have successfully defended this flank, even though we are ahead, but it's not looking too good for us right now. Ahead on points, that is. So here I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do. In my mind, with the Yamato pushing in, my thought was perhaps I can just take off towards the next island on the 9-10 line. That's just to my port. And then I could hook in and utilize that. And I wanted to do so undetected, but the Yamato player decides to turn away. And he's actually looking towards this way. He's looking towards where I am. And I just realized I could have probably just like sat in that position and used the corner of the island to stay dark, firing on him. But now he's going to move past that, so I need to move away. So this is where this, to me, Des Moines isn't as strong. Like, you know, one, I'm taking on the Yamato and the Des Moines, and I'm open gunboating right now. Like, for me, it's much more effective when you get to utilize the island. Let me see what this does. Yeah, so we took I think at least 2 citadels there. So it's a little pain. I'm in a really bad position. I'm debating here. I'm like, okay, I can try to go dark. Once I reset, pop the heal. But the Yamato player ends up getting firing at other teammates. So now I decide I'm just going to open up on him with HE. Because with the DPM of the Des Moines, I feel like I can take this fight even if he does switch his shells towards me. But he seems to be quite distracted by the destroyer close. So as we lose Doom in the Kremlin. So now my goal is just going to start punishing him. I could switch to AP here, but I know I can just go ahead and finish him off with such little health that he has off that I want to kill him. Although I need to aim my shots a little higher because if he's trying to get a heal going or something, maybe. So we take the Yamato, but we lose our other Shimakaze player. So now it's just 2 versus 3. So this was actually a really enjoyable game. I did enjoy it a lot, but this game is going to be a defeat. So I know I tend to feature victories on this channel, but I do lose. So I think it's good every now and then to show a defeat. So yeah. So that is Des Moines. So I feel like the biggest thing with Des Moines is that for me, I feel like I've been effective thus far, is just utilizing islands with those positions. You got to see how effective we are with that. And then, then I've even edged Des Moines up even further in her combat capability with having Halsey and also the Legendary Propulsion upgrade, because I think that is just fantastic, and I really like having it on Des Moines. Now that I've gotten used to it, because when I first got it, it was just like the power, and I didn't know how to handle that power, as it came with a great responsibility. So I do go ahead and pop my hydroacoustic search as I'm about to enter the cap. We still have 2 destroyers around, and this is the strength when you have destroyers that live towards the end of the match. Because I'm assuming they're probably going to assume that I'm going to push into the cap. I get detected instantly, so I go ahead and pop radar. Now the thing I have to be conscious of is the Bourgogne. Even though he's pretty far away, I'm showing him a lot of side. And so I'm going to be looking over in his direction shortly. And yeah, so we lose the Yoshino. He did actually really good in the battle. He's going to place top. But now I'm being targeted, and I look to see the position that the Bourgogne is in. So I'm going to actually have to change course here shortly. Yeah, because he gets the salvo off. So, but the clock is going to run out, and that's going to bring us to the post-battle results. So we're going to end with over 348,000 credits, 2,475 experience, 155 free XP, 152,000 damage, 199 target hits, 1 destroyed, 9 citadels, some set on fires. I'm trying to remember if I actually have IFHE. I have to look. Yeah, so base XP 1,426 from the looks of things on my screen. Yoshino player topping out on the team. And then we'll look at the detailed report, and you can kind of see a better breakdown. So, we punished the Montana a lot. We punished the Minotaur. We punished the Des Moines. And even the Yamato there at the end. So, you can see that Des Moines can put out the DPM, especially if she kind of gets in those close quarters fighting situations. Of course, you don't have torpedoes to help you out, but she can be pretty effective if you play her well. I don't have a credits and XP screenshot because I didn't grab that at the end of that battle. But this is what you have here. So tomorrow I will feature an upgrade and commander build of the Des Moines. I'm going to try to be a little bit better. I've been trying to get a little bit more too much detailed oriented, and I kind of talk too much about other things. And a lot of you guys are just wanting to know what upgrades do you recommend, what are some different build options, and what commander skills are you planning to take or currently have, and what are some different type of options there. So I will do my best to kind of keep it more condensed and tight in tomorrow's videos. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. And if you're already subscribed, thanks so much, as I appreciate it as we continue to grow the channel here with you. So until next time, take care.